ठाकुर.
Somebody didn't get the memo.
अबे मेरा नहीं हो रहा है, कैसे करने का?
अरे छोड़, अरे you update your Zoom.
It's updated. Actually, I
देख
don't know
वो
why.
मुंह बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे
हाँ, तो चलिए।
अबे ठाकुर, this is the podcast going forward. You know this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the listeners on Spotify and Apple, you have to head on to the YouTube channel to see what the fuck is happening. हम लोग 6 बजे मिले थे, 6:24 तक मेरे बाकी साथी, एक खरगोश, एक बिल्ली और एक कौतुक, तू क्या कुत्ता है कि फॉक्स है?
I think it's
Raccoon
a
है.
wolf. I think it's a wolf.
वुल्फ?
I doubt this is a
वुल्फ
wolf.
तो नहीं है ये वुल्फ नहीं है।
मैं
Please
बोलता
comment
हूँ,
below what you think this is.
raccoon है raccoon.
fuck, बाबा तेरे रैबिट का मुंह एकदम प्रॉपरली मूव हो रहा है।
हाँ.
This
बाबा
is
अभी तो
a
आवाज निकाल दो रैबिट का।
rabbit.
ये
वो
कौन सा?
लिज्जत पापड़ वाला.
कर्रम कुर्रुम कर। अभी बंद करोगे कि एक पूरा एपिसोड ये है?
okay. ठीक है, चल तू बोल रहा है
That's
तो.
my rabbit sound, guys. You have to really focus because it's soft.
Okay, do again.
That's not a sound, Baba.
What a
Yeah.
liar. He's doing something with his face, that's for sure. But
Yeah, good. You got the rabbit lip movements right, but it's can't hear it.
No, it's ASMR.
very nice. If
Yes.
if anyone has heard what Baba is trying to do, please put it in the comments as best you can.
Yeah.
हाँ.
Should we
Please
start?
spell it out.
Okay.
Okay, guys, y'all keep doing this. I'm going to begin the episode.
Chal,
Three,
chal,
two,
turn.
one. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Internet Said So, a show we take random interesting bits of facts, stats, trivia, and post stories, and we talk about them. And it's a gift that keeps giving because Baba now has a cat on his
Yeah.
shoulder.
You know what, Baba? Just do one thing, okay? Let's see how long you can keep that cat on your shoulder through this entire episode.
Yeah.
Let's play that game.
Why?
With that game. Also, we try to up the production value, and Baba, well done.
Hey, don't change the position. Just chal. Okay.
Okay, so boys, आज मैं एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज पढ़ा और फिर मैं चलेगा वापस रैबिट होल में। और ये था,
अरे एक मिनट, मैं अवतार लगाता हूँ रैबिट का, रुक फिर
नहीं नहीं
rabbit-
अरे बाबा,
नहीं,
मैं बोलने वाला था ये वापस
that
से
was not,
बनेगा.
rabbit hole was not cue for you to become a rabbit again. No, but I was skimming across Instagram and I came across this one post, okay, where they were talking about like the first products of different companies that are like super successful. Okay, मैं पहले तुम्हें सवाल पूछूंगा, उसका तुम जवाब दोगे.
एक मिनट, ठाकुर, your audio skipped out for a
second.
second in the middle, huh?
Hello.
Yes,
अभी
yes.
आ रही?
हाँ, बोल.
So I was going to tell you about like the first products of different companies that are now super popular,
Okay.
right? So let's play this game.
Sure.
Can you guys guess what was the first product, the very first product of Sony? We all know Sony for cameras and digicam and this
Yeah.
cam and that cam and
Wait, I know this one.
Walkman.
Spider-Man.
But first product Sony का क्या था?
Was it batteries? No, it wasn't batteries.
I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with something that would lead to cameras.
Noodles.
Oh, no.
Huh?
Noodles.
Okay, so Kautuk, not entirely, but somewhat
shit.
connected. No, somewhat connected, but very thin connection. Their first ever product was a rice cooker.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this product never made it to the market. So basically, what they did is that post-war, when there was, after 1945, there nuclear bomb was up. You're campaigning like people are hungry. You need like food to be made quickly, yada yada. So they experimented with the idea of a rice cooker. So you had basically aluminium powered rods on a wooden bucket essentially. But in their entire R&D, what used to end up happening is that the rice was either overcooked like a mush or like it was bhari undercooked. They were never able to get, like nowadays, I have a rice cooker, for example. Bro, it's the easiest thing on this fucking planet. कुछ नहीं करने का.
Yeah.
चावल डाल, इतना पानी डाल, ऊपर बंद कर, क्लिक कर, चले जा. वो एक बार रेडी हो गया ना, अपने आप हो जाता है खोल और चावल दबेश.
But the chawal is nice. It's fluffy. It's like
So
nice.
it is really good.
Okay,
It is really good. I was
think I would
surprised,
trust
and
it.
I've cooked every kind of rice in it. तेरा बासमती,
Wait,
कोला, brown rice, वो केरला rice सब डाला है उसमें.
why are we talking about a rice cooker like it's path breaking? Isn't it
No,
part
it's
of life?
No.
it was
No,
path breaking
like
for the
I don't
time
use a
they were
rice cooker.
thinking of
Oh, okay.
announcing it. It's not
No,
a
no, like
thinking
I
of-
don't use a rice cooker.
Really? Why?
No, I don't know. I think that I am slightly better than the machine because I think I will fuck it up in the machine.
Arey, but Baba,
By
what?
pressing a button, you
No,
will
because it may
fuck it
not
up.
do it. It may not do it to the consistency I want and all that. I don't know. It just feels like, and then I'll have rage against the machine.
good. Well
All of that for that one.
पूरा सोच के रखा उसने, उसको रेज अगेंस्ट
हाँ.
मशीन बोलना
क्या
था.
बात है, क्या बात है.
But you know, but
ऐसे
I noticed in this list though that there are a lot of Japanese companies that when they started off, like they were doing something totally different or something ancillary, and they sort of with time they adapted. Like for example, you guys remember the Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
us added or white to get it, right?
Yeah.
ऐसा था, वो डंडे वाला ऐसा रख के
नहीं, वो
खेलना
Atari
पड़ता.
है, वो Atari है.
अरे हाँ.
No, Nintendo started
Nintendo was the first one that was flat. Yeah.
With the proper
They had
like you could
playing
hold
cards,
the
no?
controller. Huh?
No.
Nintendo was patta, no? First.
Yeah, Baba, well
Oh.
done. That's correct. So Nintendo actually, before it became like a video game console type situation, it used to make playing cards, and those playing cards were extensively used by Japanese mafia back in the day.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing using playing cards, and even Nintendo, the word, like the term Nintendo, it's actually three parts. It's Nintendo, and it's loosely translated to leave the luck to heaven. Because when you're playing cards, it's almost like you need luck on your side to खेल और बाकी luck ऊपर छोड़ दे, वो जो होगा होगा.
But one second. So this was used by the Yakuza, is what you're saying.
I mean, not just Yakuza, they were extensive users of it. ऐसा नहीं था.
Exclusively sold.
I'm assuming that for all my movement, this guy is pretty cool, huh? He's still there.
Yeah.
Very surprising.
Yeah.
No, and also used by Yakuza more because a lot of the gambling dens and gambling halls used to have.
Oh, run by Yakuza.
And so made in like 1889 when they were founded. Eventually, what came to be known as Nintendo, what we all grew up playing, was actually a card company, and they retained the name. One more thing, Baba, you will absolutely love it because you're a big fan. We all also grew up on Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lego ka story bhi, it's crazy.
Yeah,
So in the 1930s, post Terra depression and all of that, all over the world, Europe economy was fucked and all of that. So there was this carpenter, okay?
Yeah. His story is outstanding.
Ole Kirk Christiansen, right? Baba, if I'm not
ऐसा ही
mistaken.
कुछ है. But his story is outstanding. Sorry, continue kar. I'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah, so this guy was from Denmark, and during that time of severe economic hardship and all of that, it was really difficult for him to get enough wood to be able to churn out proper furniture. So what this guy started doing, he started taking scraps of wood and making wooden toys. So like you had a duck with wheels.
That was the first.
That was the first. उसका photo भी एक है. बहुत वहां पे when you see it, it's literally a duck.
मैं निकालता हूँ.
Red, green, yellow, वो color में.
Then he built another duck and he put it on top of that duck. Then he put another duck on the side. No, ऐसा नहीं है?
नहीं. वो वाला नहीं था. इसमें same normal duck.
जोड़ के 18,000 duck.
That's not how Lego came about? Okay.
Yeah, so he used to, I mean, duck was one of the first toys, but a lot of automobiles, train, ये सब का वो बनाने लग गया. ठीक है. So obviously it took off, but then at one point of time, one of the stories goes that he ended up hurting his foot while stamping on his own toy accidentally.
Oh.
That's when the idea came, now I need to move away from this.
So it got even more complicated. So what happened is there were a couple of things that happened. So I'll just 1 second, I'll show you guys the duck, and then we can move on, and then you'll understand. So this is the duck.
Oh, this is like the standard 70 period movies में जो toy होता है बच्चों के.
It had wheels. Okay. So now what ended up happening is at some point, all of these things, a lot of the raw material that he was using started to become scarce and became very expensive. then also the injuries that were tending to happen. So what was exciting about this guy was he was still not giving it up, and then he started to figure out this interlocking technology.
Yeah.
Parallelly, somebody else filed a patent.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So basically, the other person, right, who filed the patent
Had a patent
almost 10 years before Ole Christensen even thought of doing it.
And the patent was for interlocking
tiles that
getting
interlock.
a plastic base and then having interlocking tiles to then put the toy together. So that was already patented by another guy. I'm going to find his name and tell you because I read about this dude. So
sorry, carry on.
Done it. Still, the courts gave Christensen his patent, okay, for Lego. So they started making it, and then in the 80s, almost like 25 years after the other guy who had the patent died, Lego took over that company.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the biggest debate wherein it's not necessarily that Christensen copied, but another dude already had it almost a decade ago.
And they had to buy it because there was enough, because of that
enough similarity.
No, not just enough similarity. In the interlocking tile mechanism, the patent that guy had was a lot more convenient for the Legos to be taken and broken up. Another reason why he decided to be able to create these interlocking tiles was because he was very curious and very because he wanted to build different things with the same toy, because things were scarce. So he was like, मेरे को घर बनाने का है, मेरे को उसी से garden बनाने का है, मेरे को उसी से बिल्ली बनाने का है, and it didn't matter. So that particular interlocking tech, the patent was this. So he needed it very desperately, which is what.
Dude, that's something when you put it that way, right? It makes Lego also seem such an interesting concept.
Jugaad.
The fact that it's the same toy that you can build whatever you want out of your imagination with. It's a very interesting.
And all of us at some point of time have had a Lego, right? Like some of us still get it. I Baba, right? And Baba, मैं तो कब याद किया मालूम है? मैं जब भी tour पे गया था ना, so I was in Denmark.
Yeah.
Dude, the Lego stores there.
Dude.
They
next level.
Ham. मैं मेरी friend उमना के बेटे के लिए लेके आया ज़ेन के लिए a proper space kit. So you had the rocket, you had the lunar rover. And
so I just built the
McLaren.
I just did a build on the McLaren, on the Ford GT, on Rolling Stones. So I have tons of builds. I do tiny builds on the side anyway, so it's great.
Baba called me
I was sorry, what? No, I was in London on Christmas Eve, and the line outside the Lego store was more than any other shop or just any shopping or whatever Black Friday deal. There's just Leicester Square, and it's just parents and children because the whole family enters together in a Lego store.
Bro,
so the line is huge.
बाप या माँ भी बैठ के ले रहे वहां पर कि ये मैं बनाऊंगा.
अरे bro, 100%. I'm telling you think it's just so exciting. Kautuk, I called you to show you Bernabeu.
So exactly. So Baba had gone to Spain. He called me from there and he goes like, तेरे को Lego Bernabeu चाहिए क्या? Bernabeu is the stadium where Madrid plays.
Yeah, Madrid.
So I said, yeah, sounds interesting. He's like, पर अगर मैं लाऊंगा ना तो फिर मैं बनाऊंगा और तेरे को दे दूंगा. So, Baba is an addict, huh? Baba?
Yeah. But they
it helps with your anxiety?
I think so.
Must be, no? Finally.
अरे मैं कब से टाइम पास कर रहा हूँ उसके साथ.
But now since we're talking about stuff that you have to make, the toys that you have to make yourself, in the similar line, IKEA.
Yeah. इसका भी story बहुत
IKEA जब शुरू हुआ था तब क्या था?
Oh, wait.
By the way, the founder of IKEA, okay, Ivan Kamprad. So I was reading about him. उसमें लिखा था that he was extremely entrepreneurial since a young age. Okay, where apparently at the age of 5, he began buying matches in bulk from Stockholm, then coming back to his hometown and selling it to the neighbors at a profit.
Oh.
It was not just doing that. He was doing flower seeds, greeting cards, Christmas tree decorations. Yes, sir. At age 5.
बहुत लोग ये करते हैं. हाँ.
At age 5, bro. Like at age 5, क्या concept है, bro?
Like this is, I think, a Warren Buffett story also. He used to sell newspapers or something. He used to buy a lot in bulk.
Yeah.
not newspapers. He used to do something else. Like he would actually like wrapping paper or one of those things. He used to buy a lot of stuff and ऐसे करके profit पे सबको जाके बेचता था.
Dude, it didn't stop there. At some 17 years of age, okay, this guy goes ahead and starts IKEA from the kitchen table in his uncle's house.
Hmm.
That was IKEA. And at that time, IKEA was basically you could order stuff from it and then come and deliver it to your house. Stockings, socks,
It was Dunzo.
Yeah. No,
jewelry, pen, picture frames, and furniture was introduced later. Then they realized that furniture is getting them maximum sales. So they phased out all the other products. And by 1951, furniture became their mainstay. And especially the IKEA catalog, that became like a huge success. Then everybody's like, bhai, apni furniture lena to IKEA se hi lena. In the 50s,
yeah. So
they are done, and that's how furniture took over.
but the greatest thing about IKEA, they function on the fact that when you make it, it tends to make you feel like you own
You
it.
accomplish
So
something.
you can-
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what's the greatest thing about IKEA is that what's it called? Most recently, the Tourist Board of Sweden, all right, did a campaign called Discover the Originals. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, just for context, all the things that IKEA names their things, right? So, for example, the Ballman, you've seen this, it's a toilet brush, right? But Ballman is a city in Sweden.
Oh.
So, all the names of the furniture are actually cities in Sweden.
Let's
So,
say Gothenburg.
yeah, whatever they're called, right? So they did a campaign where they basically released a thing and said, "Welcome to Ballman, more than an IKEA toilet brush."
Yeah.
So it's such a great campaign, and
That's why I had picked up something that was Malmo.
Hmm. But I mean, I would hate to be the people living in the place that's named after the toilet. I mean, the toilet brush that's named after the place. It would suck, dude.
You won't believe. Can I tell you a fucking crazy IKEA story? Okay, I was पब्लिक के साथ दोस्तों के साथ यूरोप टूर पे गया था, मतलब घूमने के लिए, टूर पे नहीं, चिलीज, एंड वी वर फ्लाइंग फ्रॉम एम्स्टरडैम टू बर्लिन. तो एम्स्टरडैम शिपोल पे हम लोग लाइन में खड़े, जो ऐसे 1.5 किलोमीटर लंबा टाइप लाइन है. तो मेरे सामने एक आदमी खड़ा था, हम लोग कुछ बात कर रहे थे, देन वी रियलाइज दैट इट्स शोइंग 2 hours more till your check-in counter, whatever. So you start chatting. So I started chatting with the guy in front of me. So he's like, okay, where are you from? India. Where are you from? I'm from here. Falana, what are you doing? Oh, you're a comedian. ऐसे से बात करना शुरू किया. मालूम पड़ा this guy used to work at IKEA. So I'm like, oh fuck, IKEA. And whenever you've traveled, you've seen an IKEA. We didn't have it in India till then. 2015 IKEA नहीं था. And he had told me in the line there, it's super confidential. I mean, it will be out. You will hear soon. And that soon was a year later that IKEA is opening in India. And he had told me also that Hyderabad we are looking, because ease of business, the scale, space, this, that. He had told me in 2015 in July. August 2015.
तो ये तो वही वाला है ना कि वॉलमार्ट इंडिया में आ रहा है और कब से ऑफिसेज है, हायर्ड लोग है, बट वॉलमार्ट नहीं आ रहा है. वो शिफ्टिंग टेक सो लॉन्ग इन दिस.
Have you guys been to the IKEA here in
I've been to both.
8 घंटा.
I've been to both IKEAs.
Yeah,
I've been to IKEA, and it's surprising how many IKEAs I've been to. I've been to 2 here. I've been to one for some reason. Me, Cyrus Saukar, Vinay Pathak decided to spend our afternoon, the one afternoon we had in Abu Dhabi, which was free, not to go to Ferrari World, but to go to IKEA. And we're just walking around there for 6 hours like idiots. And we bought nothing.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You go through this 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever, you see every possible thing, which from the outside you're like, fuck, ye to khareedna hai. And then you shop nothing. Or you spend a lot of money and you come back home and you're like, what did I spend it on exactly? मेरे साथ ये वाला हुआ, कुछ 25-30-40 हजार रुपया खर्चा हो गया, और फिर मैं आके देख रहा हूँ कि किस पे हुआ एग्जैक्टली, कहाँ है ये चीजें. लिया बहुत, लेकिन फिर भी समझ रहा नहीं है क्या लिया. वो घर पे यूज हो गया.
Also, one thing people don't know about IKEA is that the area that you're roaming around in, वहाँ पे तुम लोग कुछ खरीद नहीं सकते, and they've designed it like a maze. So you have to go down. So you forget what you saw. That takes like that's one trip wasted every time. I've realized that happens every time I go to IKEA.
No, but Aadar, this
अरे
is
यहाँ पे
absolutely
shopping नहीं
true.
है.
Because at the end of that IKEA thing, right? Because of what you're saying, right? You have to go, like, you can't purchase it at the spot. You have to go down and figure it out.
Yeah.
So at the end of that IKEA thing, right? My phone was just one, like the whole gallery was just different photos of the tags of these random
Stop.
Yeah.
No, so guess. अभी तो public सब Nike पहनता है, right? But there was a time when Nike, when it was first founded, before Nike became Nike, it was Blue Ribbon Sports, right?
Oh.
So at that point of time in the world, the shoes that were dominating the market were all German shoes. But this guy, I forget his name, from Blue Ribbon, he found out that the Japanese are making as good quality shoes, but with lesser money being spent on it. Okay, and that Japanese company was Onitsuka.
Arey, Baba's
Onitsuka.
favorite.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Baba is
Yeah.
over Onitsuka now, but yes.
But and you know the founders were Bill Bowman and Phil Knight.
Phil Knight,
So he went to Stanford and all of that, and he basically wanted to check. Like he wrote an essay, okay, and the essay was, can Japanese shoes do to Japan what German shoes did for Germany? So what he started doing it, he started importing Japanese shoes under Blue Ribbon Sports and then selling it. And eventually, because he had the knowledge of both of how to sell, what is working, falana timka, they founded Nike.
Phil Knight का किताब है Shoe Dog करके.
And I think this was like post-war going into 1960s. 1964 was when he founded Nike. And he founded, and you know, when he was taking those Onitsuka shoes and selling it to different universities, he was selling it from the back of his station wagon. He had that much belief कि नहीं ये जूते हैं. So जितने भी track and field athletes होते थे ना, he would go and show the Onitsuka shoes to them, and instantly पहनने के बाद they're like, bro, these are fucking amazing, lightweight, really good on the thing. So a lot of people started adapting to that. And after his knowledge of all of this together, he founded Nike in 1964.
Hey, Baba, do you know what the story behind Just Do It is?
Behind Just Do It is in what
Yeah.
way?
As in,
The
like, as
campaign.
an advertising
Who
slogan?
came up with it?
No, this is in Wyden and Kennedy and this one, right? When they were talking about it, and then I think Wyden only wrote Just Do It. Let me just confirm this. I think Dan Wyden wrote it.
I like what Salman added to it, though.
Dan Wyden wrote it. Yes.
Just do it whatever you want to.
Whatever you want, man.
Kautuk, just to answer your question, on Dan Wyden wrote Just Do It. But the best part about it is there was an criminal, okay, called Gary Gilmore. Okay. Last words. He wanted to me or whatever, and his last words before he was being hung were "Let's do it." So so there's
an homage to this.
So there's a connection where he twisted Gary Gilmore's last words from "Let's do it" to "Just do it." So that's also a urban legend that's doing the rounds about Just Do It. So I thought it was a pretty cool story, and the minute I remembered, and I had to Google it, but the minute I realized Gary Gilmore, and I was like, "Kautuk का आँख बड़ा ही होएगा." Criminal murder sentence.
से नाइकी का टैगलाइन आया, ये देख के एडिडास भी सबको पूछ रहे, भाई डेथ रो पे कौन है आजकल, क्या लास्ट वर्ड क्या बोल रहे हैं. न्यू स्लोगन इज प्लीज मुझे छोड़ दो. मैंने नहीं किया.
No. They got that tagline because one death row inmate had said, "I did nothing." They said,
"Impossible is nothing."
Impossible
is nothing is more bhai than impossible is nothing.
Nothing, bro.
Because nothing is impossible. If we had to say it, impossible kya hai, bro? Nothing.
Actually, wo hoga. They went to bhai. Nothing is impossible. Impossible is nothing. Bhai,
it is nothing. Bhai, सीधा बोलो.
चलेगा. डाल के तो देख. And hence, Adidas.
Sorry.
Okay, anyway, going back to the last one that I'll do for today is a product that we've all had in our house at some point in time. Okay, home appliance product, and the brand is, guess.
It is
Nokia.
Phone.
अरे यार. अभी तक Samsung बेंचो.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
सब फिलिप्स सब आ गया. Samsung बोला ही नहीं कोई. जैसे
अरे सैमसंग थोड़ा अमीर वाला है.
But
Samsung की नहीं.
honestly, Varun, it is because we knew you were going to say Samsung, so we were being kind
Yeah.
to not.
के तू रिवील करना, तू ब्रिंग अप किया
तेरा
टॉपिक, सो
topic
यू
तू
रिवील.
reveal
और
कर.
मैं रिवील करूं. चल ठीक है.
Guys,
Samsung.
we
ये
screen
guess कर कि
all
Samsung
topics
का
before
first
coming to the podcast. We know what each person is going to talk about.
Samsung का first product क्या था? Guess कर लो.
wait. Give us a clue, chal.
Founded by Lee Byung-chul.
That's the clue.
That's
don't
how
know him.
that
No, that's not the clue. I'm just telling the name of the founder. All our
No,
Korean
wait.
fans, if
I
I've
know
pronounced
this.
it correctly, please let me know if I've pronounced it
I
correctly.
know this. I know this. I'm just trying to think of. Give hint.
It's probably
hint,
not
give
an
hint.
electronic.
It's got nothing to do with home appliance.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
okay.
That is obvious.
Lipstick. They made lipstick.
नहीं.
Some food. नहीं, not food.
They made sulfuric acid. Chal.
No, I know
No.
Nissan. I know Nissan का noodles है, but Samsung.
But keeping in line with that, ये सब Korean, Japanese, इन लोग कोई भी अभी कुछ भी बनाते हो, उन लोगों ने at one point of time noodles या चावल में तो dabble किया ही है.
But clue देना.
Samsung चावल.
Noodle ही है. Noodle.
Grocery store था.
Grocery store. Oh.
And they would specifically trade in noodles.
Shit, I should
Then
have gone
as
with
that expanded, they started trading and exporting it to China and other provinces. फिर हुआ Korean War. And after that, South Korea's rapid push towards industrialization. And obviously, because Samsung was already a well-known thing, they pushed heavily. After this, they went into textile manufacturing. Still, home appliances hadn't happened. Then finally, late 60s, 70s, they started going into shipbuilding, heavy machinery, precision products. फिर जाके अभी home appliance का वो जो बादशाह बन चुका है, all started with giving noodles.
Wow.
Arey, bro, it's
Oh,
just
shit.
crazy how some
And now they
brands-
have their hands in everything. Huh? Everything.
Yeah.
तू साउथ कोरिया जाएगा ना, तू कुछ भी ले, in a way either Samsung owns it, is a part of it, or is supplying to it.
Correct.
Like you look at your iPhones, iPhone का तेरा जितना screens है, that's all coming from Samsung. iPhone
Yeah.
manufacturing it.
I
तो
mean-
Samsung खुद के फोन में भी डाल रहा है और वो एप्पल को भी बेच रहा है, और तेरे जितने आईफोन है सब पे सब सामान पहले लगा है सैमसंग का.
नहीं, सब
No.
सामान नहीं है. कुछ पार्ट
नहीं.
किसी और का है, किसी और पार्ट का किसी और
अबे
का.
सब मतलब पूरा फोन सैमसंग नहीं है, फिर तो सैमसंग ही बेचेगा ना. चूते मैं से बोल रहा हूँ, ऊपर का तेरा स्क्रीन एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट इज ऑल सैमसंग, बिकॉज़ नो दे हैव मैसिव मोनोपोली टू अ पॉइंट वेयर सैमसंग आल्सो डील्स इन डिफेंस. तो तेरे टैंक्स, प्लेन्स, ये सब में भी उन लोग का हाथ है.
Because tech now, because everything is tech now, so they need the best tech companies to be. But they are scared also, because then how much are they letting the country's defense be in the hands of a
private
public
player.
sector commercial?
No, it's not entirely. Obviously, they've not given it to them, but they are one of the biggest suppliers to.
Yeah, of course. But like that's
You
the
think-
fear, right?
You think when you buy a tank, someone comes and offers you a warranty on it? Sir,
Sir,
tank ले
sir,
रहे हो.
आपका
Field
bumper
service क्या
sir,
है?
आगे पीछे scratch guard and bumper लगा.
It's like that Maruti वाला ad ना, which was there's a tank and it says
कितना
कितना देते हैं. How typical.
भाई टैंक कान के नीचे देगी. टैंक क्या है? 1 है उसका माइलेज. हाँ. तू टैंक में पेट्रोल भरने जाता है ना, वो खत्म हो जाता है. अरे ऑलरेडी खत्म हो गया. उसपे जो दिखा था ना, देखो 0. हाँ, वो 0 ही है अभी तक. क्यों सर? आप टैंक लेके आए हो सर, मतलब आपको क्या लग रहा है आपका माइलेज बहुत कम है? चल ठीक है. एनीवे,
No, but
टैंक से
wars
याद आया
actually-
वॉर्स.
like wars actually led to a lot of products being produced, and we know a lot of them that we're using like in our daily lives. M&Ms, Hershey's, all these products came because they needed packaging for the soldiers to be like taking the chocolate. So one thing, so I'm going to point out 3 major ones. One was instant coffee.
Was a
came
war
from the
invention.
war. Yeah, because they needed coffee. They need to start the day. अब बैठ के वो अच्छे से pour over coffee या एक आदमी वहाँ पे बैठ के कोने में
फ्रेंच प्रेस बना के धर कॉफी बना के नहीं, वो कवर फायर पे मेरे को कॉफी बनाना
नहीं,
कुछ
but
करना पड़ेगा, जल्दी बनाओ ना कॉफी.
they're killing more people because they've not had their morning coffee.
Yeah, just
So I'm
गुस्से
a
में
little irritable until I get my coffee.
So Nestle actually invented the freeze drying process to extract it and make it. And the thing is, what happened, and they all kind of overlap, because what happens is, because extreme industrialization happens because of war. So you've got the horrible aspect of it and the fact that technology advances, and it's all hand in hand, and it's like a Lego. So the problem, they needed to freeze dry the coffee. Now they freeze dried the coffee, they figured that out, but the vacuum tech that was used to preserve it was the same stuff that was used to preserve penicillin.
Oh, hard.
So it was like all kind of interdependent for the coffee.
No, what's great
second-
about World War and coffee is also the Americano.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Americano comes
इटली में हुआ था ये.
yes, because when the American soldiers were fighting in Italy, they would give them coffee that the Italians would drink. And all the
Italian
Americans-
espresso, which is
Yeah.
इतना सा glass, तो American देके बोले चूती ये क्या है?
No, that's not it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the Americans would drink the coffee and be like, bro, this is too strong for my liking.
Yeah.
So they wanted drip coffee. तो वो एस्प्रेसो में
पानी.
गर्म पानी
पानी.
भरता था और फिर वो इटालियन लोग अमेरिकानो ऐसा करके बेच दिया. तो अमेरिकानो कम्स
बेच दिया.
हाँ, तो
मेरे को लिटरली ये स्टोरी, मैं जब इटली में कॉफी ले रहा था, जब ये अमेरिकानो लिया ना, तो वो मेरे पे हंस रहा है कि तू अमेरिकानो क्यों पी रहा है.
हाँ.
मैं बोला क्यों पी रहा है, मतलब बोला तू इटली में तू हमारे जैसा एस्प्रेसो पी. ऐसा हाँ, लेकिन बहुत छोटा और बहुत कड़वा है, मेरे को थोड़ा टाइम चिलीज चाहिए.
सेम चीज.
फिर उसने मेरे को बैठ के ये स्टोरी सुनाया.
हाँ,
So why it's called Americano? फिर during war.
Oh, but in my humble estimation, I think filter coffee is the coffee that nailed it.
Yeah, इतना सा.
But it's not a war friendly coffee, ठीक है, क्योंकि तू war पे ऐसा
कर रहा है और बाद में पीछे देखा, अरे वो सारा निकल गया वहां से, अरे यार.
अरे
so also the key ingredient is a concoction which needs to be kept dripping all night long, which you don't know if you will wake up in the morning to enjoy that concoction in war. So slightly doubtful.
Aadar, you're talking about Nestle, right? Nestle perfected that freeze. You know what was Nestle's first ever product? We have
wait.
products, right?
Mattresses.
Nestle's first product, बताओ. क्या फला?
Mattresses.
Correct.
What?
क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
मैट्रेस सीधा उसने मैट्रेस छोड़ के अभी खाना बनाते हैं, लेकिन सर हमारे पास एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है. हम पहले कॉटन को एक थैली में डाल के उसको ऐसे
नेस्ले का मैट्रेस ना तो ऐसे करके तोड़ सकते.
नेस्ले का फर्स्ट प्रोडक्ट था बेबी फूड.
मीट.
Oh, baby food.
Baby food.
Because of freeze drying technique, yeah. So they knew how to make. So make it like
for them it was I forget if there was a German word. It's a German guy, right? Something Heinrich Nestle or something his name was, if I'm not mistaken. So
उसने वो फ्लावर विद मिल्क, वो अपना जो
flour with milk, correct.
हम लोग जो खाता था ना वो
नीडो
ब्लू कलर का डब्बा में.
तो वो उसने बनाया, and they actually tested it on a baby, who was not in the right condition, not being fed well and all of that, and they were able to nurse the baby back to health.
Oh my God, there is a story there.
Public pagal ho gaye. So the sales went off the fucking roof with some million cans or something sold in less than 10 years, which was ridiculous for the time that it was introduced in. So baby food.
Because in that time it was like, because a lot of stuff, I think what they did, I think it was Nestle or what company it was, because there was a certain pride to making food yourself. To make food that is like just mix and serve was an insult to like the people at that time. Like they actually, I don't know who came up with it. Was it Nestle? Was it one of the other food products I researched? Add 1 egg. They didn't need to do that, but like add 2 eggs or something. They added that, so then it gave the illusion that you are creating it without me doing this.
Bro, that same thing
you are
happened.
not making the cake
IKEA
batter.
system.
वो क्या बीन्स आते थे ना जो
Baked
यूपी
beans,
में बहुत
beans.
खाते हैं, बिग बीन्स
Baked beans.
ना, आई थिंक उन लोग सेम थिंग हैपेंड विद देम आल्सो, बिकॉज़ दे क्या खोल के सिर्फ फेंक रहे, तो उसमें उन्होंने 2-3 चीज ऐड कर दिया कि ऐड दिस ऐड, तो पब्लिक को लगा उन लोग बैठ के बना रहे.
हाँ,
No,
meaning like toast to bana le.
No, it
That's
was
the instruction.
also mac and cheese. So earlier it was just
Yeah.
mac and cheese in a single pack, which you put hot water in. Then they gave you macaroni, which you needed to heat. Then they gave you the cheese mix, which you needed to put in and mix it. So it just made you feel like you were making mac and cheese.
Hey, but one second,
Yeah.
how did we come here? Aadar, what was the thing that
The
you
war.
started with?
So the war stuff. So like
Huh.
even the mac and cheese thing that was created, it was like all the tins also came from war because they needed high bulk.
Spam
So
was
all
that
of that,
only, no?
yeah.
Spam
So
as in spam the
yeah,
meat.
because all the leftover
Yeah.
meat, all the leftover meat is just pushed into a can,
Mushed.
this, and yeah, so it's just spam. So now the second invention that I want to talk about that came about was the ATM.
Oh,
So in 39, so there were companies that were just putting out patents one after another. So somehow, and in 1939, Simjian started work on the first working ATM, but only till 1960 were they able to actually commission. I think they started because there was loss of manpower. So there weren't enough bank tellers. So they were like, okay, let's try to do this in a more automated way. So New York City में इन लोग ने डाला in 1960.
Not New York. No,
And
the first ATM was in London.
no. Apparently, they managed to convince a New York City bank to install several machines at one of their branches. And what
must
happened
be the
was,
first in America, but maybe not
Yeah,
first.
but they
in
were
India.
removed.
Was
Yeah,
Barclays in
probably.
मेरे को जानना है
1960?
वॉर के बीच में एटीएम जाने का किसके पास टाइम है.
अरे लेकिन सुन ना, what happened was
67.
after they had to remove them they had to remove them after 6 months.
क्यों? चोरी.
60s where they installed
Chori.
them and they removed. Guess why they had to remove the ATMs?
चोरी.
No.
People withdrew too much money.
They were being used. They were
Yeah.
really being used, but by
People-
the wrong kind of people.
Why Nazis?
No. Arey, what?
This is New York.
ओ न्यूयॉर्क. तूने वॉर के टाइम में बोला, मेरे को लगा वर्ल्ड वॉर के टाइम
The
में.
mafia.
Partly correct. So the ATMs were only being used by gangsters and prostitutes. So they
Ah.
shut them down because they didn't want to interact with another human being and they just wanted to put the money in and leave.
Baap.
That's damn cool कि गैंगस्टर लोग के वैसे एटीएम.
Great trivia.
By the way, you won't believe, ठीक है, many years ago I was in an Uber, Ola, I forget which one, और ड्राइवर के साथ बैठ के बात कर रहा हूँ. हम लोग बहुत लंबा राइड था. I was going from a little town, ठीक है. End up chatting with him too much. This guy has opened up and told me how him and his bunch of friends were looting ATMs.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was like, wow, bro, this is a great story. पूरा हाईवे है, अपने पास 1 घंटा है, तू बता भाई पूरा स्टोरी. तो बोल रहा था that they were able to figure out how to go, I don't know, do some hacking पीछे ये वो कुछ ये वो. They had a certain amount of time before which the cops were alerted and they're going to show up from the nearest police station to the ATM. So they had that much time to come, take that money and bounce. He's like, the first time we did it, somebody taught me. So there was a thrill. I was just there guarding the door. Then, later on, as I became more experienced, I started learning how to actually do it, how to infiltrate it, falana timka, and how to take the money. He's like, after a point, we became so cocky that we knew the cops were coming and we would put notes on the ground, put petrol and this on it and burn it. And fuck off. So the cops come to see like just a whole bunch of burning notes.
Oh my God.
ये था. And he's like, dude, we were. ऐसे तो अभी भी कर रहे हैं क्या? तो अभी कैब क्यों चला रहा है? तो he's like, नहीं. After a point, like something just changed inside of me, and I'm like, I shouldn't be pushing my luck too far because I knew a bunch of people who have also gotten caught. And he's like, I wanted to straighten my act out. So the last time I did this was about 5-6 years ago. और उसके बाद
So the smarter thing to get back on track is to confess to random people he is taking in his Uber.
Bro, I don't even know his name. Who am I going to say what to? It's my word against his word. He could just say he's lying.
Bro, there are so many places you could literally leave a rating. 4-star. Driving was amazing. 1 star less for robbing ATMs.
In the middle of the ride. He robbed an ATM in the middle of the ride. He stopped the car and robbed an ATM.
Robbery was nice, 5-star.
He stopped it. He stopped it for petrol, and then went to an ATM.
Ah.
Okay, the next product, which was a war-created product, is this was a major problem for pilots during the World War. The major problem for pilot. What would be a problem for pilot? Now imagine the planes that were there. This is no technology, but they have to do stuff while they're flying.
There were no seat belts.
Radar, seat belt, jump seat.
Simpler.
Someone was
simpler.
peeing on them.
Something way simpler.
Toilets on plane.
No, just directions. They weren't able to
Windshield,
tell
wiper.
Yeah, kind of. Neville is in the right direction.
because they were
Yeah, Neville's
flying in
going
the
in the-
night. They didn't.
I
know
said
which
radar.
direction. Not
No,
radar.
no,
They
it's
didn't
not
know.
that related. It's more simpler.
Maps.
No,
Compass.
direct.
So directions, yeah. So when you have these instruments, what do you need to actually make an account of all this?
A black
Black
box.
box.
A pen.
A what?
हम
A
लोग बहुत
pen.
ज्यादा
A ballpoint pen.
Bro, that was made
Because
for
पहले-
space.
Huh?
That was made for space.
So the space
No,
technology
it
was
started
America.
off in 1938. No, that was a different pen altogether.
Wasn't a
That could
pen.
write upside down. That
So-
could write that could write upside down. This is a basic ballpoint pen.
Oh.
Because they were using ink pens
Yeah.
और वो ink smudge हो जाता था और हवा में आंख में जा सकता है
Oh, so it had nothing to do
Oh,
with directions.
प्लेन
Same.
क्रैश हो गया क्योंकि वो नोट्स बना रहा था
हाँ नहीं बट सेम स्पेस का भी था वेर तेरे पास ग्रेविटी नहीं है तो तेरे इंक पेन में जब इंक डालता है वो नीचे ही नहीं आ रहा वो ऊपर फ्लोट हो रहा है
No,
देन
so
दे सेड 3 इडियट्स में भी बोला था ना कि व्हाई डिडंट दे यूज अ पेंसिल दे लाइक अगर पेंसिल का टॉप टूट जाएगा वो
But the Russians did use a pencil and saved a lot of money. So that
yeah,
is
they
the
Yeah,
did,
but they
but
could
they're
have
lucky
died
that
also,
it didn't
na?
break because that would just float. Americans are 10x more careful ना कि नहीं थोड़ा लेड का उसका कुटकी किसके आंख में गया तो
Use a fucking crayon.
instrumentation panel में जा सकती है. That is
Huh?
the line. Instrumentation panel में जा सकती है.
correct.
So this guy called so he's a journalist and an artist called Laszlo Biro. He invented the ballpoint pen after he went to a print shop and he found an ink that would dry instantly. See, understand at that time there was ink that had to be वो फेंकते थे फिर उसको रुकते थे that shit can't happen on a plane.
So
That came in and the first 30,000 orders were given by the Royal Air Force.
So I'll tell you an Air Force story that is insane. Okay, it's similar to this. So what happened is a lot of planes were getting shot at, right? Like they were getting shot. So they'd return with bullet holes. Okay, they'd return with several bullet holes and they'd land. And what would happen is those guys, when they were sort of looking at it, they said, wherever the bullet holes are, we need to reinforce that part. Right? Till one air commodore or something like that said, 1 second. Where the bullet holes are, that's not the part you need to reinforce. Because even with those bullet holes, the plane has come back. You need to reinforce the parts that don't have the bullet holes.
Oh.
So
Smart.
what a just a small thing. Just a small titchki. Completely. Like there's some
Okay.
stuff that's great like this.
And last one. This is the last one. I don't know how to start this off. Should I make you guess? How many, like we've always been irritated about तुम बिस्किट को चाय में डालते हो and then it falls off.
लेकिन मेरे को तो मजा आता था वो करने में मैं तो जानबूझ के गिरा था
But that's a time bomb, na? That's that procrastination वाला चक्कर ना कि when can I eat it before it falls or like I got it perfectly. So this came about during the First World War, and this was Huntley and Palmer's. This was the world's first biscuit manufacturer. And the thing was, these biscuits were so hard that if you were to try and bite into them without dipping them in tea, it would break your teeth. And hence, the biscuit being dipped into the tea came about.
ये बड़ा एक्सट्रीम है कि गलती से मतलब मेरे को चाय चाहिए मैं उधर वॉर में हूँ गोली मार रहा है मेरे पे वो नाजी लेकिन मैं भैंचो चाय ढूंढ रहा हूँ ये बिस्किट को डालने के लिए पानी में भी सेम होता पानी में भी सेम होता
So yeah, same. So it became like a thing about dipping it in a liquid before eating it because those biscuits were so damn hard. But I would assume that if you're in a war scenario, you're running around, your biscuits need to be super solid because otherwise chura leke घूम रहा है.
Okay, I want to tell you a few incredible stories from Indian companies. Okay, so let's first start with this one particular person, and his name is Karsan Bhai Patel. Okay.
Arey, this is that guy.
Don't say apparently, we are not supposed to say.
Ha,
No,
no, as in, like, I'll tell you the story. It's pretty interesting. Okay,
I've
so
heard Karsan bhai.
basically,
He's the इसका है ना?
yes,
है ना?
washing powder.
Powder
Nirma.
Nirma.
Nice.
All right, now, so you remember the jingle and everything, right? They've had some incredible ad campaigns over the years.
की सफेदी निरमा से आई रंगीन सपना में खिल खिल जाए
रंगीन
रंगीन
कपड़े
कपड़ा भी
खिल
धुल जाए।
जाए.
मैंने क्या बोला रंगीन सपना
सपना भी खिल जाए. Okay, so now now to give you an idea of this, it's a pretty incredible story about how Nirma was created. So Karsan Bhai Patel was a BSc in chemistry. Okay, and after that he took up work as a lab technician in a mill. By 1969, okay, he finds himself working in Gujarat government's mining and geology department. Okay, so he has a very sound understanding of chemistry. Now, what he realizes is that in the market, the detergents that were being sold at a very high price. And he realized कि एक अगर कोई डिटर्जेंट बना सकता है जो सस्ता भी है और अच्छा क्वालिटी का भी है तो पब्लिक खरीद लेगा. Now, what he did was he used his knowledge in chemistry to plug exactly that gap. So at home, he starts experimenting with chemicals until he creates a detergent that is actually cheap to produce and does the job. Okay, this detergent was Nirma. Now, he would make this detergent, and this detergent was handmade. Okay, literally like bespoke detergent. Okay, जो वो अपने घर के 10 by 10 feet के रूम में बना रहा है. Okay, and he would cycle to work. This was a 17-kilometer cycle ride. But before he used to get to work, he would go and door to door, he would sell Nirma before getting to work. Okay, so धीरे धीरे करके he creates the brand which is Nirma, and because people were getting it for cheap and it was doing the job well, it took off. Now, over the years, Nirma created an incredible amount of it made a name, built a lot of
Legacy, basically.
a lot of legacy. But there is one aspect of the story that's incredibly tragic. Okay, now here's what the tragedy is. The name Nirma, okay, was given to this product because Karsan Bhai Patel had a daughter called Nirupama, and he used to affectionately call her Nirma. And unfortunately, he lost his daughter in a road accident.
Oh, fuck.
Which is why he called the product Nirma, and he has a likeness of the daughter. So you see there's a little girl.
The girl who's
the
twirling.
That's Nirupama. And basically he used his product as a way to keep the memory of his daughter alive forever.
Nice.
So that's the incredible story of Nirma. Now there is another crazy story, okay, of another Indian entrepreneur called Kimat Rai Gupta. Okay.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Perfect name. Okay. Kimat Rai Gupta. What a great name. Okay. For a businessman. Now, Kimat Rai Gupta's story is incredible. Okay. Here's what the story is. So he was a former school teacher, and one summer he comes to Delhi because he has a chacha living in Delhi, and his chacha runs an electrical shop. Okay. In this one place in Delhi called the Bhagirath Palace. Bhagirath Palace is where all the electrical shops in Delhi are. It's near Chandni Chowk. It's in Chandni Chowk. So his chacha has an electrical shop, and that summer he comes and he's helping out his chacha. Now his chacha had to leave and go out of town. So his chacha entrusts him with the shop, and he says कि इसका ख्याल रखना. Now Kimat Rai Gupta takes charge of the shop, and his uncle leaves. When his uncle comes back in a few days' time, he sees that in those few days, Kimat Rai Gupta has increased the sales of the shop. Okay, and he's so impressed with his Bhatija that he says, ki, why don't you join the business? And he says, ki, if you want to join the business, you have to put in some money. And that money is 10,000 rupees.
Wow.
So Kimat Rai Gupta was like, this sounds like a thing I want to do. He's like, I'm in. So he joins the business. Now, years go by and eventually the Chacha Bhatija have a falling out. And people from the family come and mediate this. And it's the decision that they come to is that the Chacha is like, theek hai, agar tumhe business karna hai, why don't you buy out my stake? So he pays the money, buys out the stake, and now has full control of this electrical shop. Now, in 1971, Kimat Rai Gupta spots an opportunity. Here's what the opportunity was. In Bhagirath Palace, there is just a few shops down the line. There was another trader. Okay, this guy's name was Haveli Ram Gandhi. Right? And Haveli Ram Gandhi had built a name for himself. The way he built his name was this. He would import electrical goods from outside the country, put his brand name on it and resell them.
Best.
Okay. So because he was doing this, the quality of his products were very superior and people started associating his brand name with good electrical products. But in 1971, Haveli Ram Gandhi runs into a problem and the business starts suffering and his business is spiraling. It's almost ending. At this point, he wants to sell. And that's where Kimat Rai Gupta spots an opportunity. He says, do you want to sell? I'm willing to buy. So the guy says, ठीक है, आप एक काम करो, 7 lakh रुपए दो, and you get everything, all my full business, factory, victory, everything. But Kimat Rai Gupta does not have the money. He says, मेरे पास 7 lakh रुपए नहीं है. So he's like, कितना है पैसा? He says, 7 lakh से कम है. So Kimat Rai thinks about it and he comes back and he says, देखो, मेरे पास कम पैसे हैं, but take this money and just give me your brand name. I don't want anything else. Okay, keep your factory, keep everything else. Just let me sell stuff under your brand name because your brand name is still important. And so Haveli Ram gives him the brand name. That brand name was an anglicized version of Haveli Ram's name. And it was Havels.
I remember this.
So he basically took this brand name. It was still a very long journey from taking this company on, but basically the incredible.
But it's so telling that Haveli Ram Gupta
Gandhi
is Havels.
उसको change करके Havels. It's like when ice cream कौन सा है वो Häagen-Dazs, right? Häagen-Dazs is Hagendaz. You're like भाई ये जहाँ भी बना है ना मैं वहाँ की आइसक्रीम खाऊंगा क्योंकि इसका नाम Häagen-Dazs है. It's an American brand.
Yeah.
An American brand has been given like this fucking European, Danish type कुछ name, तो automatically उसका perception ही कुछ और
some very premium product. Yeah.
So yeah, from Haveli Ram to Havels is quite a leap. And the incredible thing is he basically Kimat Rai Gupta basically grew the business from 10,000 rupees to about now it's 17,000 crore.
Oh, wow.
So it's incredible. And in that same vein, here's the last one. Right? Here's the last story. And it almost like is the full circle of this podcast from where it started. Okay. Right? Here's what the story is. Story takes place on 15th March 1959. Right? And it starts in Girgaon, Mumbai. Okay. Yes.
But
15th March 1959 was a very nice summery day. And on this very nice summery day, 7 women from Girgaon, Mumbai met on the terrace of a building in Girgaon, Mumbai. The names of these women were Jaswanti Ben Popat, Parvati Ben Thodani, Ujam Ben Kundalia, Banu Ben Tanna, Lagu Ben Gokani, Jaya Ben Vithlani, and Diwali Ben Luka.
Diwali Ben.
Yes. Okay. Now
the parents just sit you.
Happy Diwali, Diwali Ben.
Diwali.
So the 7 women meet on this terrace. The reason they have met is because they want to start a venture that will create a sustainable business for themselves. And they unfortunately weren't very skilled. Like they hadn't very many skills apart from one particular skill, which was cooking. Okay. Now they have met because they have also got a person who has lent them 80 rupees. Okay. 80 rupees. Okay. This guy was, his name was Chhagan Lal Parekh. Okay. Now they have taken this 80 rupees and they've bought raw materials, and they have, on this particular day on this terrace, they have created what they want to do, and they made 4 packets of papad.
Papad. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So, okay, 4 packets of papad. Okay. Now, eventually they build up a repository and they start selling it to a merchant in the area. And pretty slowly, word starts spreading that these papads are very nice, and people start buying these papads. Now, when the rainy season comes of that first year, they had a problem because they used to sukhaw the papad outside. But abhi
On the
barish
terrace.
yeah. So, kya karne ka? So, finally, they had enough money that they bought a cot and a stove. So, they used to put the papad on the cot and they used to heat it from below to harden it. Now, what happens is that they get a lot of publicity, but they still don't have a name. Okay. In 1962, they run a contest to name this papad. Okay. This contest was run like this, that you had to suggest a name, and if your name was picked, you would get 5 rupees. Okay. That was the whole contest. And this contest was run. And it was won by a woman called Dheeraj Ben Ruparel, who won 5 rupees for suggesting the name Lijjat. Okay. Which means tasty in Gujarati. And that's how Lijjat Papad came to be. Okay. Now, the crazy thing is they started with 7 women. 60 years later, okay, 7 women, 80 rupees. 60 years later, it's a thing worth 1,600 crores in turnover. It's co-owned by 45,000 women who make 4.8 million papads every single day.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Not a papad, man. It's a lot of papad.
No, it's still the thing is that it is still the fact that it's
It's a
co-owned by
collective.
women and it's run
Yeah.
by women and it's a
Yeah.
collective that thing. Oh,
Dude, you
unbelievable.
notice that that's now, these women pioneered it in like late 50s,
Yeah.
early 60s, right? Abhi tu Shark Tank bhi dekhega na, there's so many entrepreneurs who have come, all female entrepreneurs, not like supremely educated and foreign educated, none of that. They're just aunties at home who are really good at cooking, and they have now started, so many of them achar bana rahe ghar pe,
Yeah.
and they employ an all
Home
women
kitchens.
workforce. And it's so great to see, because they were interviewing these women. These women otherwise would just probably have to be stuck at home, not doing anything. All of them now have a means of
Livelihood.
in
Yeah.
small towns, small villages where the opportunities and access is also lesser. So that's really good that they did this in the 60s, bro. That's insane. And
Yeah,
So
it's-
there's this.
Karam Kuram Guru, because in terms of advertising also, right? Like, I didn't know Lijjat meant tasty in Gujarati,
Ah.
but I'll always remember Karram Kurrum.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia hoga na ye, where the word sound like a sound.
Onomatopoeia.
वही तो बोला.
So the
Khurram.
fun thing about this
Crunch.
is there is a story about how they came up with that bunny. Okay, so basically, so they wanted to advertise, and there was a guy who used to do a show on Doordarshan. Okay, he was a ventriloquist, and his name was Ramdas Padhiye. Okay. So he was called into the office, and they said, "Ki, we really like your thing. Why don't you come up with a character?" So he came back with this bunny. Okay, and the person he met was like, "Arey, ye khargosh kya karega?" He said, "Sir, मैं एक script लिख के आता हूँ." So when they came back with the script, the only thing missing was a takya kalam. And the ventriloquist was like, "I want to capture what the laughter of this bunny would be like." And so that Karram Kurram was not the papad itself, it was also
I always thought it was the crunch of, like, it's a onomatopoeic sound of the crunch of a papad.
No, but the laughter of the bunny was
sounds like
completely
it would
different.
be huh?
And the laughter of the bunny was completely different. That was the laughter.
Oh yeah. Sorry. That was
Yeah.
The karam kuram was the papad. Sorry.
Yeah, has to be because कौन सा rabbit करम कुर्रम कर अबे क्या हो गया तेरे rabbit को क्यों क्या हुआ
अरे
वो
वो हंस रहा है, बहुत जोर से हंसता है,
करम कुर्रम बोल रहा है
वो
Yeah,
ऐसे ही हंसता है.
it was the that thing that you did.
The Dinesh Hingu, he's the Dinesh Hingu of rabbits,
Of mascots.
of puppets. Yeah.
all our young
अच्छा.
fans please Google Dinesh Hingu.
And
अच्छा,
also
हाँ, बोल.
no, and also Google the OG Karram Kurram Lijjat Papad ad. In case you haven't seen it,
It's the
it's part of Indian.
if you don't want to
advertising
have
nostalgia.
papad immediately
staple-
after that ad.
Staple
Popcorn,
product in
popcorn.
every Indian household man पापड़ चाहिए तो
Yeah.
तू roast कर उसको तू fry कर तू deep fry कर मजेदार.
Acha, there's one female entrepreneur that I wanted to like bring up, and just like a quick this. So because we've been talking about chat GDP, chat
GPT.
GDP, nahi, GPT, sorry, GPT, chat GPT. This woman's name is Sasikala Devi, Dr. Sasikala Devi. Now she's got a PhD in computer science, but she managed to create a company called, she founded a company called Lung Expert. So what happened was she took 500,000 images, X-ray images from the Stanford University during COVID and used AI to actually get to 90% accurate prognosis tools for what pulmonary and cardiovascular illness is there in the lungs.
Wow.
And during COVID, this became like a massive thing because it could actually detect the novel coronavirus.
Whoa.
Next level.
What is it called? What is the thing called?
It's called Lung Expert. So check her out. Yeah. So it's like deep learning and AI that she used to actually create it.
Insane. कुछ before we wrap up, Aadar, कुछ monkeys के लिए पहला product क्या बना था? कौन सा product monkey ने invent किया था? ऐसा कुछ है तेरे पास?
Right. So there is. Funny you should ask. So there's this thing called the Clovis culture. Okay, so the Clovis culture is supposed to be about an 11,000-year-old civilization, or like a culture that they assumed that they found tools, hand tools and stuff that were used with like stone and bones. They found them and they attributed it to like a place in New Mexico. And they were like, this was the first kind of culture that came in, the Clovis culture. It was in a place called Clovis. So they were like, these were the first human beings who were creating tools and things like that. And recently, allegedly, scientists and paleontologists have found that this was probably not human beings. The first tools were capuchin monkeys. So they are disproving, they're trying to disprove the Clovis culture theory. So the first tools, like a hammer, anvil kind of thing, like a bigger stone with a sharp, like another blunt instrument used to like bang, like hit nuts and crack nuts. So they're saying that these were actually capuchin monkeys.
And now that business is worth 20,000 crore rupees.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how much capuchin monkeys get? Zero. वो उधर बैठ के केला खा रहा है अभी तक.
वो शार्क टैंक पे जा रहा है वहां पे. ये देखो मैं
हेलो शार्क. अरे क्या दोगलापन है. Good.
I can't believe Shark Tank has just become दोगलापन.
हाँ.
अरे बोरिंग है यार उसके बिना, अश्नीर के बिना. मैं देखा. मतलब बोरिंग ना, एज इन इट्स द सेम दिस, बट वो अश्नीर होता था तो एक थोड़ा मजा आता था कि
स्पाइस मिक्स,
कुछ मसालेदार. अभी बहुत एकदम ऐसे स्वीट, एकदम हो प्यार में. थोड़ा एक बार ऐसे रोने वोने आ रहा है क्योंकि आंटी लोग आके किल कर रहे हैं. हाँ, fully bro, uneducated, never been to school, nothing, small village, and have now started making like home food. And like just to see both the kids, school dropouts, helping her, and at age 17 or something created. Dude, it's nuts. Some of the stories that you get to read about entrepreneurs and like how companies were founded, what they were to what they've become right now, it's insane.
Yeah, so we should definitely do a second part of this.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have a lot.
Yes.
I mean, this is already 1.5 hours right now. So in case you guys know,
It's not 1.5 hours. Stop saying it. Then people think I've cut too much. It's not 1.5 hours.
Okay, it's not 1.5 hours. It's not 1.5
It
hours.
was actually 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baba, ask Baba what he is cutting, why he's cutting. We try and make
We've
sure
been-
we don't cut, but
We've
Baba,
been sitting here for 4 days recording the podcast. I don't know why you've only seen 40 minutes of it.
Baba cuts too much.
yeah. Baba, you have 2 phones और तेरे दूसरे फोन पे दूसरा वाला चलता है.
Meaning to 1 ghanta, like after we finished 1 hour, if you're starting the timer, that's your fault.
Yeah, exactly. No, but anyway, that's it from this episode of the Internet Said So. We were discussing different founders and first products of various companies and a lot more entrepreneurial stories. In case you guys know of like distinctly different first products of famous companies right now, let us know in the comments. Or we are definitely going to be doing a lot more of these because there's a whole bunch of stories out there in India
बात ही नहीं किया है.
of some insane inventions and stories from different companies. So let us
No,
know.
and if you are an entrepreneur, please write your story in the chat.
Yeah, अरे यार ये हो गया अभी. Rum,
Hey, Baba, do hey, no?
rum.
Lead jet, papad.
This is not a brand video, guys.
Guys, creative director, guys, creative director. अरे थोड़ा बंदे यार. Okay, guys, before this happens, that's it from this episode of the Internet Said So. We'll see you guys again next week. Before you go, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, share the podcast with your friends. Thoda views badao, engagement badao, please. And yeah, we'll see you again next week. From then, until then, from me, it's bye-bye. And
Hey, Thakur, Zoom update कर.
अबे मैंने किया है यार, नया वाला मेरा नहीं आ रहा है इधर किधर.
तू लैपटॉप नया खरीद फिर जूम अपडेट कर.
तेरा खाली शर्ट चेंज हो रहा है, नेविल के कलर का शर्ट चेंज हो रहा है तेरा, बट बाकी का अवतार नहीं.
No, remember when Apple positioned these things as unique to them?
Yeah.
मैं हूँ sons of the harpy. चल रमेश.
Or
Acha, one thing I wanted to mention about the
how does this happen? How does this always happen with him?
I think
I
the thing is,
really
Anand
don't
says
know.
one thing I want to mention ना सीधा उसका Zoom बोलते हैं नहीं सुनना है और निकल जाता है. Last episode record में भी one thing I had to say out. Guys, 1 second. Fuck. I have hugged. मेरा sound कैसा आ रहा है इतने time?
आ रहा
अच्छा
है.
आ रहा है.
Bro, I have not connected my Yeti.
Hilarious.
It's coming from normal computer speaker.
Yeah.
But
Which is good.
It works so far.
I
Thoda-
can't believe
thoda echo ही है.
Varun does all this, and then he's gotten cocky and saying, "Aadar, तेरा voice बहुत soft आ रहा है."
अरे अभी तो डाल दे क्या लेके घूम रहा है. Yeah, this is a real
Bye, guys.
improvement on life.